Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of the Web Piano Teacher podcast. I'm Shawn Cheek of webpianoteacher.com. This is my lovely wife, Shawna. We haven't done one of these in a while, but it's so great to be back. How you feeling these days, babe?
You know.
I'm hurting.
Well, I wasn't going to mention that.
Yeah, we've started working out just a few days. Just a few days.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Did, and we're like, don't need to ease into it. Just go full out, man. Just weights.
No, I eased into it. I'm still sore.
No, you didn't.
I was going to be sore whether I was...
Maybe for you, but for regular people, no. You just went superwoman.
I can't
full into
touch
it.
My face. My triceps hurt so bad.
Yeah, I can't bend over. I had to move the pedals, and I couldn't do it.
At least that's from being sore.
Yes, we turned over a new leaf, trying to get back into being physically fit. And
Look,
it
web piano
good.
teacher takes up a lot of our time.
Yeah, it does. But this is good because you feel better. I mean, I know we're hurt now, but I feel good that I did it.
Yeah.
And I know that there'll be progress coming up with all of it. Of course, I came home and tore up a bag of Doritos, but I was so hungry. That's my downfall.
There were other options.
I know. I'm hungry. I got something now. Got to go for it. Anyway, what are we doing today? We're doing the podcast on this guy behind me. There we go. Bach. Where I feel like there is a hidden mystery, secret story or secret code in these preludes and fugues that we're going to look at today.
I'll believe
That's
you.
what I think. I think
if we were talking about any of the people on the wall directly behind you, I would have a whole lot to say.
Yeah.
Bach.
Yeah.
I'm just along for the ride. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like there is a secret code in there. So we're gonna look at that today. And I'm gonna play the first one. And I asked you if you wanted to sing. I guess you don't want to try
that. Sing? What?
Yeah.
No.
You know that Ave Maria goes, you know? You know that one?
But that's not Ave Maria,
I think
right?
A woman sings it, though. There's lots of Ave Marias.
Yeah, okay.
That's one.
I'm not going to sing it.
I think Schubert maybe wrote an Ave Maria to this Bach prelude. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it first, and I'm going to give you a couple clues to what I'm thinking. I don't know this for sure. I just suspect this, that Bach has a secret code in there, because he did this sort of thing. He would put like acrostics in the music where he would spell out, sometimes he would do his name, like in the music, the names of the notes. He would do the name of Jesus Christ in there, but he was known as putting, little puzzles or riddles in the music. So this is not totally far-fetched that I would get to what I'm going to get here. But I'm going to play it first. I'm going to play the prelude. So the preludes and fugues are something he wrote as a young man, and I think he was in his 20s, and he wrote a prelude and fugue for every key. There's 12 keys, so there's 24, a major and minor for each one. And the first one is the key of C. And so I'm going to play the first one and see what you think. All right? Okay, so feel free to jump in and sing if you want. I lost my place. Oh, I know why, because I have it too big.
I thought
there we go.
Something was missing. Don't ruin it.
All right. So, and we're kind of doing this podcast because I started this big thing on the website. I'm teaching all the preludes and fugues of Bach. So if anybody out there ever wanted to learn all of these, I have step-by-step lessons on the website for you. Anyway, so you heard that piece, and what did that make you think of? What are your thoughts on the style of this?
It's like way out of my wheelhouse.
Okay. Well, Bach was a Christian, and his faith was a really big part of his life. He wasn't just like a church musician who had a job and that's what he did. You know, he really lived it out. And so, and he always wrote at the end of everything he wrote, he put "to the glory of God." So he was, big into faith, big into his faith in his life, and I feel like everything he did was for that. Even the secular music he wrote, he thought was to the glory of God and the refreshment of the soul. So I thought, well, maybe he does that in this, because we don't know much about what he ever said or thought. There's just not much material. We just have his music pretty much. And to me, this is so easy compared to the rest of Bach. A lot of people
I was
this.
thinking, I could probably play that.
You could so play this. In fact, I've loved that you've been playing the piano. Well, you did one day.
I did one day.
And you got back and played. You're one of those who has tremendous talent, but you haven't lit it on fire.
Well,
I know, kids.
Yeah. You got to have time.
Yeah. But you could. And you've been playing, I heard you do that one in all the classical book. Yeah. So it comes pretty easy to you. And anyway. So yeah.
That's why when it gets a little hard, I quit.
Yeah, but you
pretty much comes easy until it's hard, and then I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you could so learn this one. Because all it is chord patterns. Yeah, you just play. You just do I call it a Bach engine, where he's got this little pattern and then he just changes the chords and does the same thing over and over and over again. So I think this sounds like a lullaby.
Played it slower, maybe.
Okay. Sounds like a lullaby to me.
Let me tell you,
at the cradle.
What the listeners don't know is that Bach, every time I hear you start to play it, I have a hard time enjoying or relaxing to it, because it usually is happening from our grand piano in the main part of our house, which there's no escaping the sound of it.
No, there's not.
Like one morning,
I tried.
You came and you shut our bedroom door. And I was like, that's weird. And then I heard the piano. I was like, oh, he thought he was shutting the bedroom door was going to not make me hear this. And so he plays Bach. At one period, you would start at like 6:37 in the morning.
Okay.
And play almost all day these 24 preludes and fugues.
Yes.
And so I have trouble finding any enjoyment in it, because
Evan doesn't. Evan's our cameraman. Evan, you don't hear them, do you?
Yeah.
He does hear it. Okay.
One day I thought, I'm gonna I can't take it anymore. I'm gonna go outside and walk on our driveway, and I could still hear it outside.
Well, it is a grand piano, and I try to, I have the top closed. I close the top, and I use the soft pedal. I try to play soft.
We don't have a big house, people.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, so what do I think about this? There's a lot of things that come up in my mind. Lullaby was not one of them.
Yes, well, not everybody likes Bach immediately. That's for sure.
I've tried.
Yeah. And the reason I play it is not because I'm like trying to be disciplined or.
Also, hearing somebody practice Bach is
true.
Different than hearing somebody perform it.
Right.
So saying that also.
So you want me to perform it?
I want to not have to hear
it. Yeah. I do see that it's hard to listen to someone practice. But I play it every day.
Yes, he does.
Because it is so renewing and refreshing, just kind of spiritually, mentally, everything.
I do think you see so much more
in
the music that is so far deep and in depth to the music that I don't really pay attention to when I'm trying to cook dinner.
Yeah. And you really have to be at a certain level to see that, to hear it and to understand it.
Not at the level.
You do. You really do. You can listen to other composers, but if you aren't deep into, music and have some understanding, then you're not going to get it. But just from my perspective, it's like the most fulfilling music you can play. And I know it's not that way for you at all.
Evan's
you like Chopin. You like when I'm...
I do like Chopin. I could, all day.
Yeah, Chopin. He's great.
I could pretty much listen to almost anything all day except Bach.
Yeah. And I love Bach. I'm going to keep loving him. A lot of people love Bach. They call him the fifth evangelist because... Do you know why?
Well, I guess because you've told me, but I'm not going to try to explain it.
Yeah, because a lot of people have been, I guess, converted to the Christian faith just from his music alone. A lot of, So that so much so that they call him the fifth evangelist. He wrote the most church music of anyone.
I'm just thinking
I know.
about how you have tortured us and all of our children. That like Jonah, our third, you.
Oh yeah.
The
Bach Buddy Society.
The Bach Buddy Society. He's trying to force him to be in the Bach Buddy Society.
It's this thing I made up.
However, there is really a Bach Society.
Yeah, I saw that.
They meet in Europe and they wear the little like frilly collars and they walk around. I'm like,
that's a little much for me.
You'd go though.
I don't know.
I don't know.
People are doing that. That's kind of like the sci-fi conventions.
What would they think?
I like Star Wars, but I'm not going to dress up like.
I know. What would they? I don't think it's a requirement. I think people just get into it. But what would they think of you if you showed up in your?
I don't know.
Nasty Enjoy Coke shirt.
I don't know. So, anyway, back to my mysterious code in Bach. I think the first 12 preludes and fugues are the story of Jesus Christ in the Bible. Now, whether you believe in, whatever faith you have or whatever, that's point aside, because if you want to play the music of Bach, you have to understand that he thought that he was a believer. That was his whole life. Teaching and going to church and in his faith, all of that was just one thing to him.
Yeah, you don't have to love Jesus if you play Bach, and you certainly don't have to
play Bach
to love Jesus.
Right.
Praise the Lord.
Right. But he was known to put riddles and stuff in music and be always doing that kind of thing. And so I feel like he started with the birth of Jesus. And this is a cradle song to me. And for someone who's trying to show off, I'm going to write, because no one had done this before. I'm going to write 24 preludes and fugues. And many other composers have tried to do this after Bach.
No one had done that before him?
I don't think so, no. And nobody's substantial, if someone did.
And nobody has done it after?
They've kind of tried. Chopin's tried to do, he wrote 24 preludes, but I think it was an homage. How do you do that?
Yeah.
To Bach. And then when he did his etudes, he kind of started out that way, then he got away from it.
Probably because he was like, bro, it's so hard.
Yeah. Evan says camera 3 is stopped working. Which is camera 3? Oh, that's Mom's. Did I step on it? Is it out of? I think I unplugged it. Well, don't plug it in now. We just keep going.
It could be edited.
It could be, yeah. Well, I'll just plug it in real quick.
How'd you unplug it?
I might have stepped on it. Yeah, I turned it off. It's unplugged. I bet There we go.
Even with the notes. So smart. Oh, look, it washed me out now.
Evan, go to the... Yep, there we go.
That's so much better.
Very good. All right. back on. So technical difficulty solved. What was I talking about?
Do you remember when it went black, Evan?
It was when you were talking about Bach.
Oh,
You were talking about Bach doing the story of Jesus Christ in his...
We'll just keep going. Okay, I'll fix it later.
okay.
All right, so you have. I feel like this piece is. Oh, we were talking about Chopin.
And
right?
getting to the etudes, and then he gave up.
He kind of started in that way, but then he didn't finish. He went in other keys. But so other composers have took a stab at it. But if you think of one composer who did all keys and wrote a book, Bach is just above them all.
And I know he did it twice. Right?
He did it twice, 20 years, and he did it again. We don't know why, but he wrote another book of 24 Preludes and Fugues. And this is a huge undertaking to do something like this that he did, because it's really 96 pieces if you consider the Prelude and the Fugue for each 24. 96 pieces.
And I guess
And you've heard them all
I've heard them all, people.
many times.
He can't use the excuse of, I got kids, I don't got time.
Yeah, and my kids know these.
Oh,
So I can go, na 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 na.
da 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 da.
Evan could do that too, right? Evan
I
could
find
finish 'em.
myself annoyed that I am humming that sometimes
Yeah.
at random times.
Yes, that's a subject of one of the fugues, the C minor. So they know them all. And I'm happy that they have that in their ear. Anyway, so
And that's when you say, my Bach buddy friends, and then
Yes.
everyone gets so annoyed with you.
Master Jonah, have you prepared the minutes from the Bach buddy meeting this morning?
If you knew Jonah, you know how annoying that is to him.
Yeah, but he takes the bait
Every time.
every time.
Every time.
My other kids have learned just ignore Dad. They don't, But Jonah can't.
Enters right into that confrontation.
He can't not respond. It's not in him. He knows what's going on, but he can't stop it anyway. All right.
Tell
So-
everybody about what he said about his mustache this morning.
So he's 13. He's just the skinniest thing you've ever seen. He's so tall, though. He's tall and lanky.
He passed me.
Long arms. Yeah. He's all about his wingspan. Dad, my wingspan. Anyway, so, yeah, he's got, the mustache coming in when you're 13. You just look like you should have a switchblade or something, a leather jacket. And I was just kidding around. I go, we're in the car. I go, hey, man, mustache coming in pretty nice. He goes, I know. People are starting to notice.
No, he said people are starting to talk about it. Yeah, people are starting to talk about it. Okay.
So that's what he wants.
Way off Bach subject.
Way off Bach. So, so if you're going to do something monumental like this, most composers, they want to make a name for themselves. So Chopin starts his etudes with, this big, I played that terribly, but you've heard that one too. You've been blessed to hear them all. So he doesn't do that. He starts like this. He's this greatest composer who's the best. I mean, he's like, you have Bach, and then way down, several levels below, then you have Mozart and Beethoven and Rachmaninoff, Tchaikovsky, the other composers you could name. But Bach sits, not just one level, but several levels above them all as a composer. And he starts his first one like this. And he didn't travel all over the world to make a name. He just sat and had a family, had a ton of kids, and
Like 20.
yeah, 20 something with 2 wives.
Do you?
Not at the same time.
Bach.
Now you're interested. No.
Oh, Johann.
Yeah.
Do you think he was able to start simple? I mean, I think just what I do know about him, he was a humble guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't flashy. He wasn't looking to make a name for himself.
Right.
I don't think. I think he was just looking to make a living.
Mm-hmm.
But just in terms of these 24 Preludes and Fugues, he could start like that because do you think he had thought through where he was headed with the whole series? That there would be showier moments or bigger
I do. I do. I think he had a plan in mind for the whole thing.
The compositions, not just like I'm going to start with the key of C and I'm going to go systematically through, or do you think he kind of had an idea of all of the melodies and well, I don't know.
I think he's one of those very rare people who just had music going in his head all the time. I think he was always composing. I think there's some link, like if the stuff he was talking about was true, maybe he had I call him the musical prophet.
Yeah.
That he just had a stream of consciousness of music going, because people have done a study of it, and they said, as much music as he wrote, he would have to have been writing constantly. There wouldn't be any time for correction and composition time. He would have just be writing, just get in and write it out. And I think it was always going on in his head, and he probably had a complete piece just already composed. He just wrote it down. That's what I think.
That's incredible.
It is. So he starts out, and I feel like this is, if everything is to the glory of God, which he said, and he had this great faith in Jesus Christ. I think he would start with the birth, and this to me is a cradle song. It's humility, and if in the Christian Bible, that's the story is that God Himself came down, wrapped Himself in human flesh, and became took a demotion, even lower than the angels. The God of the universe becoming a baby, a human baby. And that's in itself is a greatest act of humility you can have. So this is just a little, and you're right, you could play it. Kids, I've taught children to play this. But then it's over. Then
even you could play this.
Yeah. So to me, this is the cradle. And then the next one I'm going to play, and I asked you if you'd sing.
I'm not
I don't
going
know if you're
to.
going to sing.
I'm not. I'm definitely
not.
not.
Then I'm going to. I mean, I got.
I don't know if I want.
Yeah.
Would prefer singing or heavy breathing into the mic.
So if Evan, you want to show camera 5 and show there you skip to. I'm sorry, son. Skip over. Go to the next one. Other way. It goes to left to right. There you go. Keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Right there. There is so if there was a scripture that went with this one, I put it up there. This is my own idea. But listen to this subject. The subject of the fugue is the thing that the whole thing, it's like the chorus of a song. Everything revolves around it. Here it goes. You ever heard that? You've heard that a lot of times. Okay, Evan, thank you. So what Bach did here, the subject keeps coming back.
Yeah.
Soprano, alto, tenor, bass, over and over. He shoves it as many times as you can possibly get the subject into a piece. He does it here. He's always teaching as well. And this sounds exclamatory to me, like a declaration. Dun, 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 dun. So what do you think I'm thinking of? You know where I'm going with this. So what would this be the next thing? The story in the Bible. So you have Jesus in the manger, baby. What would a declaration be?
I mean, John the Baptist, him being baptized.
Well, stay with the baby. Stay with the baby thing. Yeah.
Oh, well, I did read the scripture.
Okay, so give it away. So let's just go back to that page there, Evie, on camera 5. Behold, I bring you tidings of, I can't read it. There's a glare. Oh, I can read it. I can look up there. Great tidings. Go ahead, Shawna.
Yeah, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which will be to all people, for there is born to you this day in the city of David a Savior who is Christ the Lord.
All right, I think that's in Isaiah, but, the story in the Bible in Luke is where the angels are around and they're declaring, and the shepherds are freaked out and scared. But there's a declaration there that this is...
you've heard Linus from
Yes.
Peanuts.
Oh, I love that.
It's in Luke.
I love his little voice. He sounds like Evan. Evan could have been Linus.
Yeah.
Yes, Evan could have been Linus. Evan, we never told you that, have we? He's a little laughing.
Or Pigpen. No.
Right.
We just roast our kids on this podcast.
Yeah, right.
They're not here.
Yeah.
Well, Evan's here, but I can't see him.
Yeah. So this is a declaration to me. So what I like to do for a subject of the fugue is I'll teach a student. I'll say, well, come up with some lyrics for the subject, because it'll help you feel it. If you can put some lyrics to it, right? Not just a melody. So I put some lyrics to this. Glory to God in the highest, goodwill to men. So I'm making fun, but I was in the opera world, the classical voice world, and I can make fun there. Do that. And so you can do that pretty well too. I don't know if you're going to do it for us here. But,
I'm not.
You know, because the next one comes right in your range. I mean, glory to God.
My range or your range?
Yours.
I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. Glory to God. I'm gonna play a little bit of it. Glory to God. Here every time it comes up, glory to God. Glory to God in the highest. I'll stop there. I won't play the whole thing.
I mean, I will say if I am actively listening,
Yes.
I mean, really engaged in listening, I can enjoy it.
And did you hear each time the
Yes.
subject came in? Okay.
That's what I'm saying. In my opinion, to enjoy Bach, it cannot be on in the background.
No, absolutely not. No.
You cannot, and that's why none of us enjoy Bach, because it's like on in the background all the time. But if you are,
I just heard a glimmer of hope there. A glimmer of hope. Yeah.
if I finally get to sit down in a day, though, I'm not gonna.
But you said 2 words.
But it's true.
Say those 2 words again.
About active listening.
Active listening.
Yes,
Is that a thing? Someone copyright that? Active listening.
I'm pretty sure it is. But you have to be really engaged with the music and really concentrating on it. I will admit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's an activity to
Oh, it
listen
is.
to Bach. It is not.
But back before all the technology,
It was the activity.
that's what you did. Right? You didn't sit down and flip on the TV or the radio or anything. It's just when you did music, that's the one thing you were doing. There wasn't something else
right.
at the same time. So, maybe it's something that, I don't know, it's kind of neat to get back to. When I was a kid, we called it a hi-fi, but it was the stereo
Yeah.
with the record player. It's a big old thing,
Yeah. The whole cabinet.
And it was in the, I don't know, living room, den, whatever. And I put on a record, and then we had headphones. I mean, not nice ones like this, not earbuds. You can't hear everything with earbuds. And you plug in the earphone, and you put an album on, and I would sit right there, plugged in to the hi-fi, and I would have the album, and I would just, like these albums here, just look through the album as I'm listening to the record.
Which we've done other podcasts. We did the Fleetwood Mac one, Rumors, and
Yes.
that was like over and over. We kept saying, you guys got to get headphones like this, and you have to do some active listening. You will hear more than you could have ever imagined. There was so much put into that. I could also do that with Bach
Yeah, yeah.
and probably find a lot more enjoyment.
You would. But you would have to do what you just said, where that's the only thing you're doing.
I'm just saying, most of my experiences, I'm trying to cook dinner.
Yeah. So it's hard because you don't have time. We're so busy, but then also where a lot of us can't. It's hard to not do
Be
2 or 3
distracted.
things at one time.
It's almost impossible. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not, but it's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. But you're right. So you mentioned right there there's a glimmer. So you kind of you get it.
Yes.
Yeah, you get it. So that subject, I didn't play the whole thing, but I could have kept going. He just one right after another.
Because
And he
right before you
layers them.
stopped is where I started thinking, whoa, I could really get into this.
And he layered it.
Yes.
Try to write something where you have a melody like that, and then start it again in another place, and layer them. See if you can write something. It's like only he could do that as well as he did.
Is it as hard to play as it would have been to compose?
For Bach, I don't think he had to work at composing it. I think it was so easy. if I had to compose it, I could take a stab at doing something like this, and I probably could write something pretty good. It wouldn't be Bach level, of course, but I could certainly couldn't do it in a few minutes, which probably what he did. It would take me, several days pouring over it. It's much more fun to just play it and enjoy it, I think. But it is a different. I won't say it's harder than other music. It's different. And that may be the difficulty to some people because you have these melodies going on at one time in both hands.
Because what's it called?
Contrapuntal. Excellent. Gold star, Shawna. Contrapuntal. Yes, where you have these. And I like to just get lost in the middle of all the voices and just hear them going. And when I'm playing, you hear me practicing, but I'm going slow so I don't miss anything. Because when I was young, I performed. But I don't really like performing. I like the composition itself, so I like to go slow and hear all those voices coming in and out. But anyway, to me, I feel like this is the second part. I feel like the prelude was the birth, the cradle, the lullaby, and I feel like this was the declaration of the angels because of the dum, dum, bum, bum, and the happiness of the major key, and that it keeps happening over and over again. I haven't counted how many times the subject comes in this thing, but so many times. And again, I take you all the way through step by step on the lessons on the website if you're interested in playing this. But that's my thought. So I have no paper to back me up on this. That's what he had in mind. But to me, and I'm in a position to make that.
Well, but you've probably studied all 24. So does
all 48? Yeah,
okay.
Both books. Yeah.
Well, but just for this one, does it take all 48 to go through the entire?
24. He goes all the way through it.
Okay,
and then he does it again.
So you're saying you don't have something to back that up, except for your own thoughts on it musically, but it does tell a complete story.
It does.
I mean, by pattern.
It does.
Right?
I feel like the next one does this. This is what happened. There's a baby, and then Herod was trying to kill him. They had to get out. So this
that definitely sounds like murder.
Yes.
Running.
And then you get to the C sharp minor, and it's certainly the cross. It's the most beautifully written piece of music that I think I've ever heard. But it's so sad that I won't play it because it'll make me sad. Yeah. And there's one chord that sounds like, I have to look at it. I'm going to get it wrong. But there's one chord at the end that just captures the most grief-stricken human emotion.
How long does it take to play through all 24?
Me? If you're hearing if you go put it on a CD and you just listen to someone perform them all the way through, it's about a couple hours.
Really?
Yeah. But I take probably about 3 hours because I go slower. Because I'm not, and I think people play it too fast because they're trying to show off, and because their fans want the speed because they want to go, oh wow, they want to be wowed by someone's technique, and
yeah, I would agree with that.
and I think they go to, and you as a listener, you miss.
They lose the vibe, man.
Yeah, you miss. Yes, they do. You miss the composition when you go too fast. You don't get to absorb everything. It's like putting a movie on, and going twice speed. You miss the flow and feel of everything. So that's my personal
I'm not in the
feeling.
Classical world, but I will say that is my complaint.
Is what?
That the focus gets put on the technique.
Yeah.
And the execution of the technique instead of the emotion or any meaning behind the piece itself.
But you can't make a career unless you do that. Unless you are a wow performer, there's no career there in that.
But I think you could, if people are moved by the music, that is far more important to me than the execution of a technique.
Yeah. And people used to just, music was something you did in your home and in groups and families, and it wasn't, they always used the music. You didn't have this pressure of having to memorize it, and it was just a different scene. And when Liszt came along, it all changed. Or Paganini actually was the first one, the violinist, where it became he was the first rock and roll.
Paganini?
Yeah, Paganini, violinist. And people would say they would say he looked like he'd become possessed when he would start playing.
I'm sure
would just,
people had
you know.
the same complaints about Paganini that they had about Elvis.
Probably. Yeah.
In the
and then
50s.
Liszt. Although I would love if we'd be transported back in time and hear Paganini go on, then Liszt follows. Paganini opening for Liszt. Because the ladies would swoon like they would do for the Beatles, and pass out and just.
Different times.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my thoughts on these first two. That's the mystery that I see in it that I can't prove, but I think I see it in there, and I see a lot of other things. But that's my comments on the first two. So
I was gonna say I might have to listen to them and see if I can hear the same story being told. I'm probably not gonna do that.
I know, but I bet you could hear it because you're musically talented and you got a good ear and you're astute. So I bet you would pick up on it because it just to me it just follows the story. I mean, it's like so blatant to me musically.
Well, I do love a good story.
Yeah.
I really love.
Remember VH1 Storytellers?
Yes.
Wasn't that cool?
Or pop-up video.
Yeah.
I really love like literary fiction. That sounds so pretentious, but like, in all the genres, I'm not like a big like murder mystery or like rom-com. Anyway, this to me, if I'm starting to think about it in those terms, this is headed in that direction to where I'm like, oh, I could listen to this and hear a story, and that sounds exciting to me.
Yeah, there is a story, definitely.
Do you have a favorite performer? Because I'm probably still not going to ever enjoy you playing Bach in our living room, unless
a favorite performer. What genre or what
for these 24 Preludes and Fugues,
yeah.
Who would be, in your opinion, the best person to listen to? Their interpretation of it.
Okay, he's a controversial guy, but I like Andras Schiff. He gets a lot of flack because he won't use any pedal a lot of times, but he's trying to preserve the line in the music, and they didn't have pedal back.
Well, I was going to say I don't think they had a pedal, right?
So he gets roasted for that, and people,
okay, they're roasting him for doing it like it was historically done.
Yeah.
I have some complaints about
But when I hear him, so one of the worst I have listening to is Glenn Gould, and he's one of the most celebrated, but to me, his stuff was just kind of weird. It's like he was famous because he would do weird stuff with him, which he can do that if he wants, I guess. But when I hear Andras play, I hear Bach. When I hear Glenn Gould play, I hear Glenn Gould, and I want to hear.
Fine.
I want to hear Bach. Yes, it is. But if I want to just listen to the music, which is what I'm interested in, I'm not really interested in flashy performers. I will listen to Andras Schiff.
But I don't think Bach
Rosalind Turek is another one.
Is supposed to. I think if you bring flash to it, you kind of lose the intricacies of it, maybe.
Yeah. But if you play some of these things that people typically play really super fast and you didn't do that in a competition, you'd be out. I think. What's so funny though is that we're talking about this today, and then maybe next week we're doing a Led Zeppelin song or Dolly Parton 9 to 5.
Well, we've done Billy Joel, and especially a lot when we did the episodes on Elton John. Listen, they're all music is being built off of what Bach did.
Yeah. People don't realize the roots all go back there. They do.
And I think a lot of people know for sure because Billy Joel's talked about it a lot. Because he loves
classical music. Yes, he loves Beethoven especially.
So you can hear the influences because he makes that connection from himself talking about it. But
Sure.
Elton John didn't really as much. But he was classically trained. Anyway, it's present.
I don't think, to me, you'd look at this
Even
behind
we were
me and
talking
you go,
about Tom Petty yesterday.
Yeah.
And what did you say?
As we were working out outside, pumping weights,
Pumping the
getting
iron.
ripped.
We were listening to Tom Petty.
Evan, turn the camera right before. There we go. All right. Thank you.
But you were talking about, what'd you say? We're out there lifting weights, and you're like, oh yeah, Tom Petty's melodies are all polyphonic, blah 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 blah.
Pentatonic. Pentatonic, folky. Yeah, folk style. Yeah, I know. And to me, there's not, much difference between this guy and the rest of them as far as the music goes.
No.
It's all from the same place. I could take a Bach thing and play it in the style of any one of these guys, and you'd blow your mind.
Okay,
I'll do it right now.
do Bach in the style of Tom Petty.
Okay. Well, I'll do. Let's see. I'll do Elton. Yeah.
Now you got me.
Yeah. Tom Petty, maybe. With guitars. But the chords are chords of chords. Chords function the same way whether you're playing.
I like this game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. Some of them I need a little time to.
Well,
to
Elton
work with.
John, that's easy. Billy
Yes.
Joel, yeah.
The reason I identify so much with Elton is because all of his influences are what mine were. So before I even really got into Elton, I kind of played like him already. I'm not saying I'm Elton John,
No.
but it comes so naturally to me. He had classical. I had that, a whole bunch of that. And then he had, when he did the studio musician thing, that's where I think he really got all his background, because he had country people, he had rhythm and blues, he had gospel, and he loved it. And he soaked up, American culture and all this other. But those were my influences as well. And so when I play his music, it's so natural to me to do. So he's probably the most natural. I go back and forth between him and Billy Joel, which is my favorite, but
No.
love them both.
And we've talked about the differences
We have.
between the two.
Yes. Hey guys, what if you'd like to hear, a certain podcast you'd like, let us know. We're open to suggestions and your comments of what you would like to see on the show. Right?
Maybe. No. Well, we were eating.
Well, it doesn't mean we have to do it, but we'd like to hear.
We were eating at a restaurant this past weekend, and they were playing a certain genre of music. And we just were like,
I'm trying to think. What restaurant?
Slow Rise on the Brazos.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You remember?
Uh-huh.
I don't want to dog country pop music.
Yeah. You can have an opinion about it,
But
without dogging it.
We couldn't say, oh, the melody of this is a pentatonic melody. Because there is no melody. Or there is, I guess technically there is. But
Well,
it's
I was
just
listening to it, and it was obviously a hugely, country pop current hit. And I just thought, listening to that, any average songwriter could churn that out in 5 minutes. There
And
was
make
nothing special
lot
about it.
of
Yeah.
money.
There was absolutely nothing special about the song, nothing creative out of the ordinary. It just sounded like Larry the Cable Guy singing.
Well, style of singing is,
Yeah.
Whatever.
But just the composition itself just was so lazy and generic to me. And I just was kind of, I hate hearing that gets a spotlight when there's so many great songwriters out there today who don't get that spotlight. One I like is Tyler Childress. Tyler, is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Anyway, my son introduced me to him, but I love his style. It's just raw and real, and it's got the spirit of the old country in it, and I love it. It's got banjo in there.
But I'm just saying, like, and then we were listening to Tom Petty, and his even his not popular songs he would probably never have done in a concert.
Yeah.
Track 7 or whatever, like those ones that are, but even those, they're so interesting when you're really listening to him. He'll have like a 50s flair and a really cool melody, and anyway.
And it all still sounds like Tom Petty. Yeah, whatever it is.
That's where you're like, you are who you are.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That would be a great series. Because we haven't done Tom Petty, and we both love Tom Petty. That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
I can turn any conversation about any. We're talking about Bach, but I can easily turn it to talk about the stuff I want to talk about.
Yeah. And I can do that too.
So we're talking about Tom Petty now, but.
No, I like that too. Love it. Love all of it.
I like any musician and songs that you're not like, that song is stuck in the 80s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I think that's why Bach, people are still talking about him, still fascinated by him, still. I mean, he's a foundational music person.
Right.
But like Tom Petty, that was our comment about him. I was like, I can't believe, he was a guy, his big part of his career was in the 80s. He doesn't sound like an 80s artist.
No, he doesn't.
At all.
When I think of the 80s, the synthesizers and 80s Tom Petty is not.
He totally survived the 80s and was still putting out great music in the 90s.
He wrote himself. He wrote what he was.
But I mean, that's just unusual for the industry, I think. And but that's just how good music works.
Yeah, if there was a Tom Petty today, he'd have a really hard time getting to be heard, I think. The way the things are run
Tom
today.
Petty wrote songs about that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So,
see, Last DJ.
he understood.
Yeah, he did.
He lived through the problem. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But you listen to an album that he wrote in the 80s, and you're like, you wouldn't be able to pinpoint what decade that was written in.
Mm-hmm. Well, we got to do him next. We're like been on a Tom Petty tear here.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out which songs we can do for our own gigs.
Yes, we're preparing. We'll talk about that last thing, then we'll wrap it up. We're preparing for our second gig as a family. Our band called Road Trippin'.
Road Trippin'.
Yeah, Road Trippin'. Evan's behind the camera, but he's the guitar player and singer. Pretty good singer. Surprised me. Started singing Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah, so we are finally putting into practice what we've been, what a lot of people have been using our website for 18 years to gig. And
yeah, I didn't even know that.
No.
I didn't know it.
I mean, we kind of met Kevin.
Yeah, but I didn't know that was like a common thing.
Right. So we were like, oh, you know what? Maybe we should try that. So we've done one gig.
And it was successful. We did well.
And we got one more coming up. So, yeah, we're finally putting into practice and using our own website and talents like everybody else has been using our website and their talents.
Yes.
And then also let people know exactly where they can find it. If they're interested in playing Bach and traditional note reading. This is something we haven't really
I've got everything on my site. I've done this for so long. I'm a teacher at heart. And anything that you're interested in music, doesn't matter what it is, if it's piano, I got it covered on the website. If you're just wanting to play by ear and need a very beginner start, I have lessons for that. If you're wanting to learn to note read, like you don't want to play by ear, you want to learn how to read notes, that's great. I have lessons for that. Sight reading boot camp. If you already can read music, but you want to play Bach, join in this journey with me. I'm going to teach all 96 pieces.
You've taught some already?
Yeah.
Which ones have you taught already?
The one we did today is already up, and I have more scheduled. I'm also going to, the classics.
And is that just where can they find that?
WPT University. So if you go to webpianoteacher.com and you log in, the top of the page, it says WPT
So
University.
it is not in the song library.
No, it's not in the song library.
It's in WPT University.
Right. These beginner lessons.
Classical
Right.
university.
Yes. So, and then you'll scroll down, you'll see it, Bach, well-tempered clavier. And all of these lessons will be there in 4K, doing 4K videos now. And I have my sheets there so that if you have your own book and it doesn't look like mine, you get sheet credits with the friend level that you'll get when you do the membership. And you can use those sheet credits to just download the exact thing I have here. All the markings and everything will be on there.
And are we going to talk more about Bach? Are we going to do like more?
It's like, can we be done with that?
No.
No, I would like to have a different flavor on it.
You piqued my interest a
Yes.
little bit with the story and the connecting the story and the music. So
I want to go through the mystery that I think that's in there, through these pieces. So yeah, we'll at least do the and the I love that one.
I know.
I want you to sing though. I want you to do your operatic.
It's a joke. When I do it, I'm joking.
No, but it sounds like. Do you know what opera teachers do when they're teaching their students? They say try to sound like an opera singer, and then they automatically do the things that you're supposed to do to sing. So it's
That's
not
true.
really making fun. But you do sing that very well, and you have had some classical voice in your life, so you know how to do
Yeah,
it.
I quit going.
Okay, but you know what it's about, and you know how to do it, and it's not completely foreign to you.
No.
But if you would just give me a little soprano, and make it interesting. Put some words to it. Make it come alive.
I'm probably
Okay.
not going to do that. So like, people don't wait for it.
Okay, I'll have to do it myself. I can do it. I'll do it. All right, well, there's our podcast for this time. More to come. Let me know how you feel about it in the comments. Let us know. We love you guys. Talk to you later.